Hi, I'm Benjamin, the UK's most hated sales trainer. Now, if you're watching this, it's quite possible you're a loser. If you're not watching it, then you've maybe seen some of my stuff and you apply it. But I'm here today to share some wisdom, some tips, and some knowledge. I'm a sales trainer. I'm pretty good at what I do, but at the end of the day, you and only my clients can be the judge of that.
Why are you hated?
Well, because I tell salespeople the truth is the number one reason. Let's be honest, most salespeople are losers, and if they're willing to admit it, they'll acknowledge it. Because who the hell chooses sales? No one chooses this. You fall into it. You've gone to university, you studied, gender diversity studies or sports psychology or something, English literature, and you realize no one's going to pay you for any of that. So now you're educated, you can communicate, you look good in a suit and you don't dribble. You're technically qualified to enter the world of sales. And that's where they end up. Why? How'd you get to sales? I needed a job. Most people in sales are there by default, not by design. This is not what they had planned for their life. Or you're someone that's passionate. You're really good at something and you want to make money off of it. And what happens is you suddenly realize people don't just give you money. You got to go out and sell it. So now you're a reluctant salesperson. I've got a great idea, but I've got to get people to buy it. And so, that's how you get into it. So this isn't something most people actively choose. They don't study it. I qualified as a lawyer. I had to go to law school for 5 years. And then I was a junior. Yeah. Sales training. To become a salesman, I should say. It's a new suit, a CRM system, and you are one.
Oh, now.
That's it.
Oh, now it's a laptop and a Zoom account.
Yeah.
And you're away.
Yeah, and a happy, maybe some ecstasy, so you come across like Tigger on speed, which is what most salespeople are trained to be like. You beg, you embarrass yourself, you plead to get into people's diaries, and then you show up, you throw up, and you hope you did a good job. And every now and then someone says, all right, we'll buy. You go, yes! And that is how most people spend their life in sales. And I say that's such a bullshit way to live. And I challenge it. And they hate it because deep down they know it's true. And that's why they hate me.
And then when they've spent time with you and they've had and they've had the therapy.
They've had the therapy. We've got their mother out of their way. Yeah.
So how should it be? How should sales really be?
Selling is the art of conversation. It's a lost art. It's an art that's dying. Technology is exacerbating the death of that. I read recently, in fact, just last week or the week before, 35% of 18 to 34-year-olds have never made a phone call. Never made a phone call. So I've got I go to the gym and there's a PT guy in there I talk to, a young lad, he's 25, and I told him that. And he looked at me, he goes, "Mister, that be right." He goes, because if I go out with my mates and we have to get a taxi, it's always you call, no, you call, no, you call. No one wants to call. And he goes, and now he made me realize, he goes, when you get to somebody's house nowadays, you don't ring the doorbell, you send them a message to say I'm outside. And I said, he goes, yeah. He goes, no, I go, have you ever phoned a girl? He said, no. So what the? So this is a dying skill, communicating. And so selling is the art of conversation. It's enabling another person to discover that they need what you have. It's not the art of convincing, which is a lie. You get told, gift of the gab, go in there, feature, benefit, push, push, push. It's not. A good salesman enables a prospect to realize, actually, I do need what you have. And now you've made me realize it. Yes, I'm willing to continue this conversation. That's what it's about, but that's lost.
My definition of sales is similar to that. I say, it is that I'm going to persuade you, Benjamin, to do a thing that this morning, when you were brushing your teeth, you had no idea you were going to do. And if I can do that, I am fucking valuable. You can put me to work. Don't make me do admin. Make me have more conversations because I've got a skill. But do most people have that skill?
No, they don't. No, because they're taught that it's a show up, throw up, and hope scenario. You show up. You spend hours laboring over your presentation. It's a PowerPoint, normally 16 pages long. Starts off with why you set up the company, what drove you, the values, your principles. Then you have the key people and what they bring to the table. You think some examples of your work, then some case study, then some testimonials, and then a roadmap of what we're going to do for you. And you talk through this like it's the greatest thing since like your prospect's sitting there, yeah, fine, thank you, yeah. You do a little bit of discovery, which is normally just intellectual fact finding, and then you get to, so what do you want to do? And the prospect usually answers, well, look, it's very interesting, leave it with me, or send me something, or I'll be back, or we've got to meet with other people. And then you go and you sit there and hope, please call back. And then you keep chasing them because then it's persistent. So you got to keep chasing. Yeah, don't let them off the hook. Chase. And if you do this enough time, people will give you money. But that's not a skill. You know, it's like saying, I trained as a lawyer, but you don't have to be a lawyer to go to court. Go in there and you can represent yourself 20 times. I lost 18, but I won 2. Oh, you're a lawyer then. Oh, no. No, you're not. You argue 20 cases, there's a good chance you'll win 1 or 2 of them. Doesn't make you a lawyer. But this is what sales is like for most people. And they hate it, they know it, but it's taught to them from their bosses and their managers because that's how they've done it, because it's always been the same. It's a numbers game. All of this crap. It's not true. Great salespeople are still selling in tough times. Poor ones aren't. And businesses noticed that. When COVID hit, I spoke with so many managing directors, and they said it's been the best thing that's ever happened. Why? They all have half my sales team, but the same amount of money comes in. Yeah. Yes. Because you had order takers during good times, and you don't notice order takers because they meet their criteria. But the moment they have to sell, you suddenly realize, I don't have the staff, or I can reduce it to the ones that were selling.
I turn up often and I meet somebody and I'm having a conversation with them about their sales team. And they'll say, I've got 5 people. I say, okay, tell me about your people. Well, we've got Mary. She hits her numbers all the time. And then we've got this next guy and he's not quite as good. And then we've got the next guy and he's not quite as good. And at what point are you going to get rid of these people who aren't as good as Mary? Like, why don't you hire somebody like Mary? If you were Alex Ferguson, you didn't say, Wayne Rooney, he's quite expensive. I'm going to hire somebody cheaper and shitter and hope we win the Champions League. But small businesses, particularly ones where they don't value sales, they say, oh, Mary's expensive. Yes, that's because she's got skills. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hire somebody else who's cheaper and shitter and just make them work harder than Mary, and hopefully they'll get there. And they don't.
I think subconsciously, because most business owners like to think of themselves as nice people. They know most people applying for a sales job are a loser. So they kind of feel obligated to help him out, right? Yeah? Let's give this guy a shot. Let's help him out. Let's give him a shot. That's how I got into sales, right? Yeah? And so that's what they do. And it's almost like a kindergarten for people that can't get proper jobs. And yeah, some win, some lose, and there are some rough diamonds. But most salespeople, if you just hire them because, well, they interviewed well, they seem okay, let's give them a shot. Sometimes that works. Most of the time it doesn't. And there's no training. They don't know how to hire salespeople. They don't train them. And then they wonder why they crash and burn, or they give away, they discount. I got the deal over the line, but I gave them a discount. Or they allow discounting, which amazes me even more. You know, we've got a 20% discount built in. So why not just sell at the lower price? Oh no, because if you sold at the lower price, they discount another 20%. So what you're saying is you guys can't sell. Yeah, it's ridiculous. Yeah. It frustrates me because it's so fucking obvious what you need to do, but people don't do it because it's uncomfortable to sell. It's easy to take an order. It's easy to discount. It's easy to beg. It's easy to negotiate. It's actually hard to sell. So they don't do it. They just hope someone will give them money. And as long as you just hit target, who cares?
Most people don't hit target.
No, they're at least I just missed it.
And what should people be doing instead? Like, how do you find salespeople? Well, should they just hire you to train the people they've got? Or should they be training different people?
Okay, well, first thing they need to do is make the process of hiring much more tougher. They're too soft. Whenever I talk to an MD and they say, look, we hired these guys, they're not very good on the phones. I go, can I ask you a question? Yeah. When you made them make phone calls in front of you during the interview, how did they perform? No, I didn't do that. Why not? I didn't think of it. I go, why didn't you think of it? I don't know. Were you unaware that this was a phone-based job when you put the ad out? No, I know. So why didn't you at least listen to them on the phone? No, well, now you put it, probably would have been a good idea. No. You see, so they make it soft. So when I do job interviews, I want you to call someone in front of me now. Do you know how many refuse to make phone calls? They won't do it. Or they do and they panic. And they go, sorry, I'm not normally like this. No, this is exactly what you're like when you're on payroll. You see, you are coming in polished for the interview. I'm making you do the stuff I'm going to pay you to do out on the floor, and now you're actually acting the way you're going to behave when you're out there, because you deep down don't want to do this phone calling. Because if you could do it, you would do it. It's like asking a surgeon, can you show me something now? No, I can't show you my skill. Can't do that. Too much pressure. It's the only profession where there is no skill.
If salespeople were doctors, they'd just be this pile of dead bodies.
Yes. Yes, they would be. And this is it. And I always use surgeons and lawyers as examples. Because if you ask good salespeople, why are you good? A lot don't know. That's what I first discovered when I decided to figure out how to sell. I would ask some of the best salespeople, what makes you good? And a lot would say, I don't really know. But I do know if I do this, there tends to be a tendency. So, but they could never pass that on. So you'd sit next to them, you could listen, you could learn from them, but they were never able to tell you why what they did worked. If you can't explain to someone why it works, it's good for you, but it's no good for those around you. So I wanted to figure out, why do good salespeople succeed? What makes it work? Because if you ask a surgeon, why do your patients not die? He won't say, well, it's my winning personality and my bedside manner, which is what most salespeople, I've been doing this for years. My customers like me. I know my stuff inside. No, seriously, why? I don't know why they bought. But if you ask a surgeon, why do they not die? What do you mean, why do your patients not die? Do you know how many times I've done this operation? I know every cut. I know every suture. I know exactly when to do this, when to do that. If I cut open the body, there's nothing in there that can happen that will surprise or shock me. Everything is controlled and choreographed from the first cut to the last cut. I know it inside. I can do it backwards with one eye closed. Salespeople, I just kind of go in and wing it. And every now and then I make a home run. Good one.
Why did you need to know how to sell?
Well, so before I actually got into selling, I was a telephone prospector.
Why, if you were a lawyer?
Good question. What do you do if you come over to England from New Zealand, you're a qualified lawyer, but you don't have 5 years post-qualifying practice?
Oh,
so you
need to pay the rent.
Yeah, you can't, you're not allowed to practice here. You have to do more study. I thought, bollocks to that. So what do you do if you're well-educated, you don't dribble, and you can string a sentence together? That's right. Sales is the only option. Nothing else.
I landed in Perth many years ago and had exactly the same situation. Yeah.
That's what you do. They'll hire me. I'll interview well, and then you get in. And so what I discovered was very quickly I was good at getting appointments. I ended up setting up my own business, just doing lead generation for advertising agencies in London only. And I did that for 10 years. And I remember one of my clients, the CEO of one of my clients, was talking to me one day. He goes, we've used lots of services like yours before, lead generation companies and outsourcing. He goes, with minimal results. He goes, but you consistently get us in front of the people. Where he goes, why are you so good? What is it that you do? I said, I don't know. I said, I have no idea. And he looked at me, he goes, if you can figure out why what you do works, the money's in showing other people how to do it. He goes, you don't need to do this prospect. And that started the spark. I need to figure out. So I did a lot of stuff that I didn't know worked. But when I started exploring the psychology of people and looking around what was out in the market and meeting other sales trainers, and I started to figure things out. And I realized that the best salespeople are utterly self-confident and not necessarily their product, but in who they are. So they got a 10 out of 10 on the self-esteem. 2, they're in control. They realize that the prospect needs me, I don't need them. I have a solution, they have a problem. So I'm in control, whereas normally it's flipped. And most salespeople, if you listen to them, if you close your eyes and listen to the average salesperson, they sound like a 10-year-old kid begging for someone to play with them.
It's a game. And when I watch you do your cold calling, you can tell this is a game. I'm thinking to myself, he doesn't give a shit. If they answer, they don't. In fact, you say, they might not answer. Who cares?
Who cares?
They don't want to talk to me. Who cares?
No, because again, the other thing is no attachment to any professional has no attachment to the outcome. Your lawyer doesn't care if you go to prison at the end of the trial. He may want to win because he's got but at the end of the day, if you lose because you're guilty and you get, I don't care.
I got paid.
I got paid. You were guilty anyway, and there was no way this was going to work. I did my job. I didn't fail because I didn't win. I would only have failed if you suddenly sued me for incompetence or negligence because we should have won, but we didn't. So same with a doctor or a surgeon. They don't want their patients to die, but if they do, they don't go home in tears and upset. I can't believe another one died. It's part of the job. People die. People lose cases. They go to prison. Salespeople aren't like that, though, particularly if you've set up your own business, your product, your service, it's your baby. To you, it's the most beautiful, amazing, magnificent thing in the world. To it's just another fucking baby.
Actually, I think the other thing is they are under a misapprehension because they have a widget and they decide to try and sell their widget. And so they're looking through the wrong end of the telescope. They should be thinking, who is the person with the problem for whom this might be an amazing solution? And they're going, no, I need to sell more widgets. I need to sell more widgets.
Well, you ask them, what does your widget fix? And they go, well, we help. No, don't what we help. What does your widget fix? Well, and they start to flummox because they don't see well. You created something, but you can't tell me what the prospect's moaning about that this fixes. Well, they want to make more money. Well, everyone wants to make more money. There must be a reason they're not making more money. You must have created a widget that fixes the reason why they're not making more. What they want to.
I speak to clients. I say, why do people buy what you do? And they start telling me, and I go, but okay, well, why do they buy yours and not the other thing? And it's like you've asked them a question to which they've never thought about the answer before.
No, and they go, well, they needed it. No, yeah. We know they needed it, but why you? Why did they buy from you?
Yeah.
Well, we had the better price. Oh, so when you are, well, no, I never. So you don't. So you're selling to people and you don't know why they're buying. I guess not. So how do you create a process to repeat the good stuff that got that outcome if you don't know why they're buying? Well, it's a numbers game. Oh, God, you just, it's just you want to stab him in the forehead with a fork, you know?
So what does your process look like now? Like if somebody comes and hires you, now you've got this, you've pulled it all out and you've got it all laid out on a piece of paper. And somebody says, Benjamin, come and teach my salespeople to be amazing. What is this?
What do I do?
Yeah, what are you thinking you might do?
Well, you've got to show them why they're doing what they do.
Uh-huh.
And so the first thing I say to I challenge them. I go, okay, so I'm the prospect, and I say to you, say we're in the meeting. And it's not hostile, because this is the great thing about role-playing with salespeople. When you do a role-play, they become uber bastard prospects because they become the sum of every awful experience they've had. Finally! The shoe's on my foot. And they become a human being that doesn't exist in the real world. And that's the first thing. So you're going out every day expecting to meet this tyrant that doesn't exist. Right? So already you're self-sabotaging. You're already gearing up. So it's all in here while you're screwing up. And then I ask them a question. I say something simple. I go, so where are you guys based? And they go, Bournemouth. And then I stop them. I go, oh, stop. Can I ask you a question? Why'd you answer that question? And they go, what do you mean? I said, why'd you answer the question? Well, because he asked me. You said, I know because he asked, but why? Why did you answer the question? And then you hear their mum. And their mum says, well, because it's rude not to. I said, it's rude not to. I go, no. I said, why are you, at 33 years of age, listening to your mother? And they go, well, what else are you supposed to do? I said, well, we're going to get to that. But can I ask you a question? Do you know why they asked you, where are you based, without guessing or assuming? They go, no. I go, so why are you answering a question when you don't even know why it's asked? And they go, no, I suppose we put like, yeah. So now what you see is you have got this way of behaving that is so counterintuitive to selling. So I got to undo all of this. So you got to stop answering questions. And I go, but what if they ask me? I go, tell your mum to leave. You're allowed not to answer a question. I go, what's the first thing the police will tell you if you get arrested? You do not have to answer our questions. They even tell you this because they know you're such an idiot. They actually have to tell you, shut up, right? And I'm saying the same to salespeople, shut up. It's not your mother. If they ask you a question, where are you based? You scratch your head. You go, that's a good question. No one ever asks me where. I'm happy to tell you, but curious. I'm assuming our location's relevant to you? No, just curious. Or actually, yes, we want to work with someone local. Now, they're two very different answers. They're two different motivations for the question. I want to know the motivation of a question before I answer. So, Benjamin, have you ever worked in our sector before? What the do they want to hear that's going to please them? Do they want to hear yes or do they want to hear no? People, why would they want to hear no? Maybe they want a fresh pair of eyes on their problem because they're pissed off with all these supposed experts in their field. You don't know, but you make all these assumptions. And so you answer their questions. So have you ever worked in insurance before? Yes. Well, we're trying to go out. Or you say no. Well, in that case, we're not going to be able to help you.
Or you're in insurance. I'm assuming you know as much about insurance as you ever need to know. No, I've never worked in insurance. How can I possibly know more about it? It's your business. That's not why I'm here. I'm here because I can sell and you're in insurance.
This is a true story. And if he watches this, he'll probably pop up. I've worked with an insurance company. The CEO asked me that very question. He goes, Benjamin, I've got a question for you. I said, yeah, shoot. He goes, so have you ever worked with an insurance company before? Now, at this point, most salespeople, if they haven't, would start talking about similar types. Well, not specifically, but we have worked with blah, blah, blah. I didn't do that. I just scratched my head and said, well, what do you mean? You see, whenever you ask someone a question to clarify what their question was, they never go, what do you mean? What do I mean? They go, and he did exactly what I knew he'd do. He goes, well, what I mean is, but now he's going to say what he really meant. See, his first question wasn't what he meant. He didn't care. This is what he meant. He goes, well, what I mean is insurance is a very niche, regulated industry. And my concern is that if you're not familiar with that, I'm not sure you're going to be able to help us because you won't have that knowledge. And I said, okay, no, that makes sense. That makes sense. I go, okay, last question. And I'll give you that. He goes, sure. I go, so are you telling me then that if you genuinely believed what I did could help you sell more, we can't work together if I have no insurance experience? No, I'm not saying that. I go, what do you mean? He goes, well, obviously, if I believed what you did work, then no, that wouldn't be a problem. I go, well, okay, I'll be up front with you. I said, I've never worked with an insurance company before. I go, I get the feeling you're going to ask me to leave now. He goes, no, like I said, if I believe that you can help me by the end of the meeting. So what happened is he raised the objection. I got him to deal with it. And we moved on. I walked out with the order. And first time I'd ever worked with an insurance company. Turns out it wasn't a problem. You don't need to understand the nicheness of the market. Everyone's niche in the world of sales. I've never met an unniche product.
Is your scratching your head a deliberate thing you've taught yourself to do to buy yourself time?
Absolutely. And the reason why is problem with salespeople is they go in to look professional. And they go in suited and booted or dressed smart. And they go in ready as if they're going into war. Problem is unless it was you at school, did anyone like the smartest person in class? No. But salespeople always go and try to be the smartest person in the room. Now, that makes people uncomfortable. You get in front of a CEO or an MD and you try and be smarter than them, you're going to piss them off. So I deliberately struggle on purpose because no one feels threatened by someone that struggles or bumbles. So I watched every Columbo movie I could because he's the world's best salesman. Columbo, the police detective. No one thought he was a cop. Why? He didn't look like one, didn't sound like he did. So I never take a pen to a sales meeting. I nick that. And I'll go, do you mind if I take notes? And the CEO always says, sure. And I get out my paper and then I just go, and I start doing this. And it must be in my jacket. And they go, would you like to borrow a pen? I go, no, I have one. No, I don't. I left it in the car. And he goes, it's fine. I go, are you sure? I said, fine. Now I've got his pen. He's just helped me. As he helps me internally, psychologically, his mum gives him a stroke and says, you're a nice guy. Look at you helping out this poor struggling salesman. Now this guy who was up here because he was expecting to be sold to, he started to lower his wall. And then I scratched my head and I go, so remind me again, how is it we got here? What was it? Well, you phoned me. Yes, that's it. Can you remember? What was it we discussed? It was something. That's right, fine. And people say to me, you can't behave like that. But I do all the time. And when it's happening to you, you don't notice it. When I'm explaining it and you're sitting back in your bedroom or wherever watching this, you say, well, you can't do that. But in the real world, no one knows you're doing it on purpose. So they're just involved with the game. It's all designed to make people more comfortable than me, because I don't care what people think of me. People say, but you look like an idiot. I don't care. If looking like an idiot helps them feel comfortable around me and lower their walls to tell me the truth, I'm winning.
Yeah, you don't have to go out on a Friday night to the pub with braces and your hat off. You could take them off. I mean, the glasses might be part of your disguise for all I know. Might be a stick-on beard.
Yeah, this is the uniform, right? So you get a piece of this, but you don't get a piece of me, because Benjamin, the human being underneath, couldn't give a fucking toss if you buy from him or not. I don't care. I do fine. I got plenty of money. I own my own home. My kid's in private school. I don't need your money. I'd like it, but I'm not going to beg, dance around like some performing chimp for you to then say, all right, I'll give you a go.
I can see, having looked at your cold call stuff, I can see how that works. But when we get past that and we need to be doing some consultative selling, how do you teach people to do that better? So now they've actually got over the fact that they haven't. I say to people all the time, I've spent time with successful and unsuccessful sales teams, and the successful ones are never successful by accident. They actually have a volume of activity that they do. And the unsuccessful ones don't have a volume of activity that they do. And so, if we get we get people to pick the phone up, they get through to somebody who might be the right person to talk to.
Yeah.
How do we then?
So are we on the phone call here? Is that what you mean? So you're on the call?
On the call, and maybe we're doing it on the phone, maybe we're doing it on Zoom, but now this is the person who might need the thing. We think they're the person who needs the thing, because otherwise we wouldn't have rung them up.
I want to separate, so this is important. I want to separate the prospecting call from the sales meeting, because they're two distinct things. Yeah. So prospecting is to get in front of someone.
Yeah.
Selling is what I do when I get in front of them. So are we talking about what do they do once they got over the initial nervousness of the opener of the call? Or no, the guys agreed, come and see me, or let's set up Zoom.
Yeah. Where should we start? Should we talk about prospecting and then go on to sales?
Yeah, we can. So with prospecting, I always ask every salesman this: what's the purpose of a prospecting call?
Get them to say no. They say get them to say yes.
Well, they say get them to say yes. They say find pain, find need, find want, get a meeting, get an appointment, educate. Some people have the audacity to say, and all of those are good, but those are all outcomes. That's not purpose. It's like if you ask a lawyer, what's the purpose of a trial? They wouldn't say to get an acquittal, to get a conviction, to get a hung jury. No, those are all outcomes. What's the purpose? Why are we all there? Oh, and then they give you this noble, it's about the pursuit of justice and the administration of the fair, rah, rah, rah. That's the purpose. So what's the purpose of a prospecting call? No one knows it.
Have a conversation.
No. What are you trying to do to this human being?
Generate interest.
More stronger than, how do people buy anything?
Emotionally. So every salesman knows that, yet they don't design their phone calls purpose to get them. My whole purpose when I phone up someone is to get them emotional. That's the purpose. And if I do that well, the outcome will probably be an appointment. If I can't get them emotional, then the odds of them wanting to continue a conversation is virtually zero. Very few people say, well, it makes intellectual sense. Come and see me. Yeah, it's not how it works. But if you get them to say, all right, yeah, maybe, all right, maybe you got a point, maybe you got, okay, all right, yeah, okay, yeah, I'll be willing to continue this conversation. That is what I'm doing. So the whole structure of what I teach is designed to get this person emotional. Now, if I can't get them emotional, I know it will go nowhere. So I have people go, but what if they don't? Then move on. Oh, but they're not an opportunity. Just because they're breathing, it doesn't make them an opportunity. So it's getting this through their skull. And salespeople, no one's ever shown them this. It's just phone up, vomit on them, do that enough, someone will say yes. Yeah, well, buy a lottery ticket then. You're going to have just as much chance of making as much money, It's crazy. But if you have a structure, so what am I trying to do? First, I'm going to hook them with a pattern interrupt. Then I'm going to give them my 3 reasons why people buy from me, and it's normally phrased in their world. You're probably frustrated. You've got sales guys that are reluctant and not motivated to pick up the phone.
Yeah, I guess I can recognize that. So I need to put something in their world. And then I move them from intellect to emotion. So help me out. When you say they don't pick up the phone, what do you mean? Well, I've got 6 guys in the office and they spend most of their time sending LinkedIn messages and video calls and networking when all I want them to do is pick up the phone. Okay, that must be frustrating. See, drop an emotive language. Yeah. So how long has this been going on? When did you notice they weren't doing it? Oh, it's been going on for at least... Oh, it's been going on for a year. I go, well, a year's a long time. Sounds more like a lifestyle than a problem. No, there's a problem. Yes, so then you deny their pain, right? So my job is to create feeling. Yeah. And the fact that you're laughing.
I thought I was going to choke.
I know, because this is what it's... If you're trying not to laugh on a sales call, you're doing it wrong. It means you're under pressure. I'm trying not to laugh. So then they tell me it's been going on for a year. I go, well, that sounds more like a lifestyle. No, it is a problem. Well, what have you done to try and fix it? Well, we did change their commission structure. I go, well, guess that must have worked then. And then they go, no. And then I go, deaf. I go, sorry, I missed that. Make him say no twice. I said no. Okay, so I got 2 more questions and I'll let you go. Yeah, sure. So how much, do you reckon it's cost you any money? Do you think you've lost business to competitors because you guys aren't picking up the phone? And they go, yes. I go, sorry, I missed that. Yes. Yeah. Okay, last question. Do you mind if I ask you a personal question? Sure. And now I sum up literally everything they've just said to me. I go, so how does it make you feel knowing you got sales guys that spend most of their time sending messages and despite changing their commission to encourage them to pick up phone calls, you're losing business to competitors and it's probably costing you. I go, how does that make you feel? Well, when you put it like that, yeah. See, now I got him. He 5 minutes ago, he wasn't even thinking of it. Now he's feeling it. Right now, I just say, well, look, can I ask one more thing? Yeah. Have you given up trying to fix this? No. I got it. Now, fine. That's it. So all I got to do is get someone to the point where they acknowledge that, yeah, you're right. What is happening does kind of irritate me, annoy me, piss me off, frustrate me. That's all I need. Then I'm willing to go and spend an hour with you because you've actually just told me you have problems that I could probably fix. The next step is to diagnose, is that problem big enough for you to justify giving me the money to fix it? That's the purpose of the sales meeting.
Fab. So, sales meeting.
Sales meeting. A sales meeting again. Now, I spend the next hour trying to convince him he doesn't need me. You see, this is it. If someone can't fight for their pain, then it's not real. So your job is then to get them to fight for it. And that requires a whole plethora of questioning skills and ability. It requires the struggling. People say the struggling makes you look stupid. The struggling is necessary in order to ask a lot of probing questions without them feeling like they're being cross-examined. That is a skill that most salespeople lack. Most salespeople treat it like they're interviewing the Yorkshire Ripper, right? It's absolutely brutal. It's so formal, and it's just, and they're going through this rotation of questions, and and they got their little clipboard, and they're writing it all down, and it's just, and the prospect's dropping all these important bits of it, and they're missing it, because once they hear what they want to hear, they then want to talk about themselves. I've heard enough. Why don't I show you how we can fix that? Without once figuring out, do they really need it?
No. It's if they're a software company, it's like, I've heard enough. Let me show you the software.
Yes.
Oh, God, please don't.
Let me
show me the software.
Why don't you take your holiday photos with you next time? It's far more riveting than the demo, I can assure you, right?
Let me show you the login screen, because the software you've seen before won't have had a login screen.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, God.
Can I show you my favorite bit? And this is the problem with demos. Demos done too soon cost you more money. Because what happens is the only person who enjoys the demo is the person giving it. And they talk you through all the bits they like. And you're sitting there going, I only need the email function. All I need is the email function. They're showing me the video this, they're showing me the tracking this, they're showing me the this. And then you have the goal to say, and it's £499 a month per user. And it's like, all right, mate, leave it. And then they go, well, there are cheap. So when they demo, they end up showing the prospect stuff the prospect doesn't need to see. And so as a result, you talk yourself out of selling because you've shown them all this crap that's irrelevant to them. And it's getting this out of the SaaS. I refuse to work with SaaS companies now, as a rule. They're pathologically useless. Yeah? And so, because their whole model is based on VC capital, and all they measure is anything that looks good, so the guys at the top can rape the company for all its money and leave before it crashes, I choose not to get involved with them because they are a waste of space.
How many of the salespeople that you train survive? Because most of them have no innate talent, are unable to ask questions. And so when you turn up and train them, if some of them survive and respond to your coaching, it just makes the gap bigger.
Well, it's always the Pareto law concept, 20 versus 80. They know this. So when I go in, I'm up front. I say, look, I only work with a company if they'll get their employees to pay for the training out of their own pocket too. It's a condition I have.
You see, you are absolutely talking the language of that frustrated CEO that you just role modeled. He's going, oh, I fucking like this.
They do, because they get it. Because when I say, well, look, let me ask you a question. If you go to your sales guys and say, hey, look, guys, I'm going to get some guy to do some training. Do you want some? I go, what are they going to say to the boss? They're all going to say, yeah. Why? It's a free day out of the office, a free lunch, and they're off the phones. Like they're going to say no to that. So they all say yes. But then the next day, they just go back to doing what they want. I said, so unless they're willing to pay towards their own training, I won't come in. And every CEO goes, that's a good idea. I go, because let me ask you this question. And I show them how to ask it. I set it up for them. I show them how to ask a series of questions to get them there. I go, what happens if they say, no, I don't want to pay? I said, what are you going to do? As the owner of the business, I said, how's that going to make you feel? They go, well, that would be very bad. I go, why? And this is where you start to see how hurt it is for someone running a business, because then they go, I don't know what I'm going to do, because I've got a team then of people that don't want to get better, but I need them to be better. I go, so now you don't have a sales problem, you have a recruitment issue, and I'm not a recruiter. And I've had, on a handful of occasions, I've had a couple of MDs phone me up sounding extremely forlorn and said, Benjamin, they all said no. I said, I'm sorry. There's no point paying me to come in and talk to them. You're just pissing your money up against the wall. I'd use it to hire a good recruiter and start getting rid of these people. I had to pay for you meet any lawyer, any surgeon, any accountant, anybody, they paid for their education. Sales is the only one where, next to banking, there's no other career where you can earn as much money as you want, yet it's the only career where the employee says, well, I ain't paying for my training. It's not my responsibility to get better. Goth. So this is why salespeople hate me. This is why so many managers hate me, because managers are just average performing salespeople that didn't want to sell anymore but wanted some power. They're no good. So I piss off more people than like me. But the ones that do what I teach phone me up and say, "You've changed my life. This stuff works." They phone me up like I should be surprised. I can't believe how this works. Yes, I know. It's because finally, for once in your life, you're in control. You're not a loser. It's amazing how losers don't succeed.
Oh, fabulous. Right. What book should salespeople buy to get better, do you think?
Yeah, so burn all your sales books, right? I mean, I'll be up for it. I'd say this. I've read some sales books, but after a while you realize they all kind of say the same thing and they just put their own spin on it. So if I was to give any advice, and whilst I'm talking myself out of people buying my stuff, if you bought one sales book, I don't care which one it is, because I'm sure all of them in their own way, if you could do them really, really well, if you could do Medic brilliantly, I mean, you mastered it, I bet you'd do well. If you could master Spin brilliantly. But salespeople don't do that. They just love to buy the book, read it, take one little bit out of it, and then try to... and then they wonder why they still remain average. So pick one methodology and master it. That would be my first tip. But if I was to give you a book to read, it's called How to Run Your Own Life by a guy called Jut Meininger, Jutmeineger. How to Run Your Own Life. And this book will help you explain why you're so fucked up as a human being. And once you understand why you do what you do, and why you behave the way you behave, and why you let people talk to you the way they do, and why you talk to people the way you do, you'll suddenly realize how to free yourself up and become better at sales. If you don't have a mirror right near you, go find one and look in it, because you are looking at the biggest sales problem in your life. It's not your prospects. It's not the economy. It's not Brexit. It's not the war, and wherever there's a war, every continent dies despair. It's none of that. It's you. Because you're too dumb to realize you're getting in your own way.
Excellent. Available from Amazon and all good booksellers.
If you can find it, it's very hard to find. Yeah.
Okay. What drives you every day?
What drives me every day? What drives me every day? Getting up and abusing salespeople. No, what drives me, I'll tell you what really drives me. The best results, I don't do a lot of corporate work anymore, because at the end of the day, corporates don't genuinely care. They just want to tick a box, get some training. They're never going to fundamentally change. And because they have such a turnover of staff, anything that I teach is gone with the people and whatnot within time. So I prefer the individuals. And what gets me up is the emails, the messages, the phone calls that I get from people that I've worked with, or whoever worked with me, who've just sort of bought my course, or they've watched me online. And I get emails from people all over the world saying, I've been following you for the last 6 months. I just want to tell you how much better I've got since I've been following your advice, or how much happier I am, or I had the confidence to quit my job and go out and do it on my own. That is what drives me, because I know there's a few thousand people in this world that have genuinely made their life in sales actually better and happier. Sales is a miserable place to be if you're average. Yeah? Most salespeople, when they're buried, you see their little tombstone. It sort of like born 1983, died 2010, buried 2065, right? You know? They're just shells going from job to job, every 2 years swapping, new opportunities. Bollocks, you were going to get fired. That's what that means. Yeah? No, if you're good at sales, you never quit your job.
And your quota attainment will be on your CV.
Yeah.
Because you are proud that you are the best person in your company.
Yeah, and if you're a good salesperson, your employer will fight to keep you, because they are hard to find, or you're going to be poached and offered a really good job. But the general person looking for a sales job, well, why are you currently leaving your existing role? Well, I just want to seeking new opportunities. It's like, right, so you're about to get fired and you're going to jump ship before it happens. Because you're moving into a similar role in a similar sector on similar pay. This is hardly a career trajectory that I am admired or inspired by.
What's your genius?
What's my what?
Genius.
Genius. Not giving a rat's ass what people think of me.
Okay, this is a supplementary question then. What unpopular opinion do you hold, and how has that impacted your success?
Every salesperson should be 100% commission. and before your audience have anaphylactic shocks and start phoning up their DEI instructor or whoever it is in human resources that they have to go to for help, people that own the business are 100% commission, because if the business don't perform, they don't get paid. People that set up companies, put all their own time and money and sweat, they're 100% commission. I've been 100% commission since 2004. I've been my own boss since 2004. I have made all my own money, and I've done 100%. Nothing motivates you more to get better at your skill than starvation. But have you heard of that tribe? There's a particular tribe in southern Sahara, Africa, that whenever they don't hunt anything, whenever they don't kill anything on a hunt, when they get back to the villagers have prepared a meal for them. Have you ever heard of that tribe? No, because it doesn't exist. If you don't kill on the hunt, you don't eat.
We say that at the farm about the chickens. If you're not laying, you're not staying.
No, exactly.
What's the most significant risk you've taken in your career? And did it pay off?
Yes. In 2015, I had my prospecting business and I had clients and they'd be paying me $2,500-3,000 a month to get them appointments. So I had like 3 clients paying me that. So that's a pretty good whack. That's about $100K a year. And I said to my wife, I really want to master the sales training lark. And I go, the reason I'm not doing well is because we have this income coming in. So I was spending half my time prospecting and then the other half trying to grow the sales training business. And I said, so the only way this is going to work is if we get rid of all my income. I've got 8 credit cards. God bless the credit. Back then, credit, everyone will give you a credit card. I said, we got 8 credit cards, a few £1,000s in the bank. I said, we got 2 choices. I said, the worst outcome. I said, let's discuss it, sweetheart. What's the worst possible outcome? And we went to it. We won't be homeless because we live in the West. The government won't let us be homeless. I'm married with a kid. We got family, we got friends. So we won't be homeless and we won't be on the streets. So what's the worst case? Bankruptcy. Total financial analysis. Well, we have all anyway, right? I said, so are you willing to roll the dice? It's either make this work or go bankrupt. And we'll live on credit cards. And if I can't pay them off, who cares? It's made up money from the bank anyway. No one loses. So what do you want to do? And she said, fine, I believe that you'll make this work. So that is what I did. And the first 2 to 3 years, as you'll know, are the absolute hardest. It was hard. I mean, hard. At times I was banging my head. I was in tears. I wanted to quit. But every time I wanted to quit, I asked myself 2 questions. The first question was, if you were competent at this, if you could do what you know will work, if you could do it competently, is there any reason it wouldn't work? And the answer was always no. It would always work. So, do you want to quit or do you want to push through? And that was it. Every time, and I asked that of all my clients at the first session, at the end of the first session where I show them what I'm going to teach them. The last question I ask is there any reason you can give me intellectually why this won't work in your business if you could do it well? And so far, I've never met a single client that said, no, it wouldn't work. They've all said, no, it would work. Right. So you have a choice. You either make this work or you admit you can't make it work. That's it. And I refused to let it beat me. And I just kept plowing through, pushed through the pain, because I knew once I mastered it, I'd be doing well. And I got over the other side. And so the biggest risk was risking it all to get to where I am today. And I don't regret it. In fact, I'm now bored because people just give me money. And it kind of sucks because there's no hunt anymore.
How do you measure success in life?
How little I have to spend working. Yeah, so I was commenting the other day. I'm institutionally unemployable now. There is, you could not hire me because I'd break every social contract that has been constructed around proper employee engagement. And I just said the idea of asking permission to go to the doctor, to have to leave early, the idea of having to ask another adult who is not even better than me if I can just be a husband or a father. Is it okay if I come in a little bit late on Friday? The idea of having to do that is so repugnant that I'd rather live in the street than do it.
Thinking about your eulogy, which you might not have done. What do you want to be remembered for?
Well, I'll tell you what, I don't know about my eulogy, but this is something my wife knows and she says she'll do it if she survives me. I want to be buried with a laughing box. So as I'm lowered, it's just, ha, 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 ha. Here lies Benjamin Dennehy. He didn't take life too seriously. Toffs at the top, plebs at the bottom, and him in the middle making a fat pile of cash.
What's the most recent thing you've learned?
The most recent thing I learned is that 35% of 18 to 34-year-olds have not made a phone call.
Does that mean that this skill of cold calling will eventually disappear completely? Because even if you got a hold, even if you knew their phone number, they're not going to pick up the phone to you?
Cold calling won't disappear, but for the first time in its history, there'll actually be a barrier to entry. You'll need a skill set because, first of all, AI is going to take away most of it. So most of the drudgery, the AI will do, and that's only going to get better and better. I've heard some AI, and it's good. And once it gets even better at being able to sound like a person, it will get rid of, I would say, 90% of cold calling jobs will be done by AI, which means the 10% that exist for more sophisticated stuff, the job market is good. You're going to have a skill. You can't just say, oh, let's give them a shot. You're going to have to prove that you can at least match the AI.
Yeah.
You're going to have to match AI or be better. And that is going to eliminate. So I say cold calling is almost becoming the coal mining of sales. There's only going to be a few pits open in the foreseeable future. And so all these religious studies and gender studies and all these university quasi degree people are just going to be panhandling.
Very good. What's your source of inspiration?
My source of inspiration. Well, I'm a man of faith, so I have my religion, so I'm inspired to achieve something better than myself. But I want my daughter to understand that in order to make money in this world, you don't need a posh education. You don't need letters after your name. You need to know how to critically think. You need to know how to engage people. You need to know how to communicate, how to control yourself and be emotionally tough. I want her to see that her father wasn't beholden to anyone. Yeah, that whenever I had to be somewhere for her, I could be there and didn't have to say, I've just got to check with the boss. Daddy has a boss. No. So that's what inspires me, so that my daughter, and she's pretty good at selling, she's only 10, but I've been teaching, she won't answer a question. She's 10 years old. It's bloody annoying. Yeah. Yeah, she's mastered the art of not answering a question.
What's the worst business advice you've received?
Don't give up. Sometimes it's okay to know when to quit. Yeah? And I think we live in this world where you're told anyone can be. No, not everyone can be a top footballer. You may want to be, but let's be honest. That is reserved for an elite. Not everyone can be an astronaut. Not everyone can become no, most of us will be average, but we can do better than average if we want to. So I would say, look, find something you're passionate in that you can monetize and do it. But if it's sinking, if you're not willing to suffer the greatest risks that come with it, then don't do it. I've talked people out of setting up their own business because they said, well, I'm only doing it for the money. I go, but that's not a good enough reason, because you're going to have no money for the first 3 years. Yeah? So if money is your only motivator for doing something, it's not a good enough reason. You got to have something driving you, but know when to quit. There's nothing wrong with admitting something's beat you. It's better than just pushing through. That's why so many people are stuck in sales.
Yeah, the other place I've seen lots of people stuck are doctors, where 7 years in, it's like sunk cost. They were the smartest kids in school. 7 years later, they're stuck talking to old ladies about incontinence. And they're thinking, how the f- did I get here? I was the smartest kid in school, you know.
I know. And that's why it's got to be a calling. It's not a brains thing. It's a calling, because I'm glad I didn't get the call.
What's the biggest myth in business, do you think?
That people buy people. That's the biggest myth in business. People buy people, because people don't buy people. If people bought people, then sales would be the easiest. I'm a person, you're a person, buy from me. Okay. No, people buy people like them. And that's the key distinction, the like them. And this is the problem. Most salespeople have a personality that they don't run into a lot. And so when you're out in the world selling, you meet more people not like you than like you. So that means unless you have the ability to adapt and change to their personality and give them the personality they need, you're going to find it hard to sell. So the people that fall into the category, he's a natural salesman. If you look at the sector or industry they sell into and the sort of person they sell, by chance, they just fell into an industry where they meet a lot of people like them. That is why they do well. Because if you look at salespeople who they sell to, they're very similar to them. Yeah, it's because they get along with them. But they forget the 80% of people that thought you were a tosser.
Benjamin, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you today.
It has been fun. I've enjoyed it.
Thanks very much for coming on. I'll see you soon.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.